I bet you, like we are all looking at golf pros on TV and tour players on TV and seeing how well they move that club back in that initial takeaway. Today we're looking at the wrist hinge in the takeaway. And just before we get really stuck into that, I just want to say that I don't like it being called wrist hinge. So think of a door and how it would open. It would open on the hinge this way. So it's very much what I call flexion and extension. When we look at the wrist movement in the takeaway, we want very little flexion and extension. We actually want radial movement, which is more wrist cock, as I call it, or wrist set. So we're going to use the hanger here to help demonstrate how and when and what we do that. And I've also got a bit of a grid on the floor here to allow us to have some visuals to get the club moving in the right direction as we use our wrists correctly to form the start of the golf swing. So what you'll see here, I've got alignment rod pretty much straight through the middle of my feet, another alignment rod about 45 degrees, and another alignment rod parallel away to my ball to target line. What I'm going to use these for basically is just a rough visual guide, and the hanger's also here to show how little I'm going to basically hinge the wrists and how I'm going to cock the wrists. So if I take my address position to this golf ball here, and at address you'll see there's a gap between the hanger and my forearm. Now as I take that club away, I want that gap to stay the same. It's not going to decrease or increase. So as I take the club away, this gap is not going to change. It's going to stay the same. Now ideally we want to be cocking the wrists, or as a lot of golfers call it, hinging the wrists in a kind of diagonal direction like this. So if we do that correctly, this club will match pretty much the 45-degree rod I've got on the ground. So if I get the arms to start the swing and cock the wrists in that direction, that's pretty much what we're looking for. From there then I want to add some rotation and depth. And if I do that, I get the blend of everything I want to do. And again, just try and keep that hanger away from my wrist as I do it, and feel I work those thumbs up into the air. So it's kind of setting at this degree, keeping the gap with the hanger, and using these as the visual representations to what I want to do. So what I would encourage you to do is have this grid on the floor, take your setup, work on the wrist direction first of all, so my thumbs are going off down that rod there, as near as damn it, and the gap and the hanger staying the same. Then blend that with some hip turn, some rib cage turn, and I'm starting to get the club in the right position I'd want. What we see with a lot of golfers that do this incorrectly is the hanger would crash into the hands, the arm would separate, so we'll lose that connection, and the club would whip itself inside. Occasionally we get the odd golfer that does this, but that's much, much rarer than the golfer that takes the club back and rolls it inside. So the beauty about the hanger is I can feel that roll as soon as it happens. I can feel that change of forearm relationship and connection as soon as it starts to happen. So very much thumbs up with a blended rotation to get the perfect kind of takeaway. As we work to the top of the swing from this takeaway position, then the hanger will start to push into this forearm to give us a flatter left wrist. So the wrist at address will have some angle in it. It will be slightly what we call as cupped or extended. The angle, when we test this on Hack Motion and various other 3D devices, stays roughly the same within a few degrees as we get back to that takeaway position, which again, this hanger helps to demonstrate. So once we've done a few reps, just working away and feeling this movement, we could build that into maybe some small swings. And then from there, start to build that into bigger swings. So what we do is work through the gears to get you to your full functional swing. Let's talk about how we can take this to the golf course with a full swing after we've done this practice. So okay, if we're looking to make this now a full swing or even on the golf course, what I'd love to see you do is do a rehearsal where you feel, again, you're cocking those wrists at that 45-degree angle, and that'd be the most important thing. The rotation will tend to take care of itself. Then step into the golf ball, and just think again, you're going to go at that 45-degree angle, and then so the idea is to influence your normal swing, not necessarily have a new swing, and keep the swing thoughts to a minimal,